Good morning, everybody. This is Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations. And today I'm just going to do kind of a stitchy chat and catch you up on the things that I'm working on in the stitching arena. I do have other things going on, but we're going to stick to stitchery today. I was going to say I wrote down Janet's prompts here, but we're not going to do them so right now. Let's see, where do we want to start? I haven't got much farther on Nature's Journey. I was just going to show you. Scott didn't realize that needle he was moving things around a bit. And, but anyway, this is that top corner. Oops. And that's how much I've gotten done. Because I'm going over 2 threads this way and 2 threads up and down to make the little X's. This is cross stitch, counted cross stitch. So I have my magnifier lamp here, and it's slow going, but I did make this much progress, and I'll show you it in the chart here. This is the flower I'm working on right here. And this is what I've gotten done so far. So I will get this done at some point. I might work on it some today after I sign off here. I have to have my own full attention when I'm working on that. Yes, the stitches are very tiny. And then yesterday, don't ask me why, I was looking at Yarn Inspirations, and they have this cute little sweater, and it's made from 2 hexagons that you kind of, as you're working on it, it does this number, and you make 2 of these, and then when you fold them and you stitch the arm, and then you stitch the shoulder, and then you stitch down the back. So you'll have this side and then one on this side, and it makes the full-on sweater. And I will say that you really have to make sure you have the same number of stitches on every side as you're going. So you don't count the ones in the corner, but then on the sides, make sure they're all the same number, because the corners aren't going to change, but you want these sides to stay. And I had messed it up at one point. I had to pull a bunch back. So it is easy to mess up the count. But I just thought it was a cute little sweater. And I'm using some of the yarn that I tried to show you in my haul video, but the video cut off. So this is the yarn that I didn't get to show you in that short little live I did of the yarn I picked up. And this is some King Cole yarn called Melody, and it's a double knit. So the pattern calls for a size 4, and double knit, if I remember right, is like a size 3. I don't see the skein size on these, you know, like in the little yarn skein, they'll usually tell you what the size is. And I couldn't find it on here. But these 2 had the labels. This one didn't. So, and it claims that the sweater is only supposed to take 1 ball of the Super Saver Ombre by Red Heart. That's 482 yards. And these skeins are, I just saw it, 320 yards. So I will have to open a second one of these to make both sides of the sweater. And they might have different colors, but they look like they're going to be close enough that I'm not going to mind. And since it's ombre kind of effect, see how it's changing from kind of gray to purple to orange to pink. And this has the same colors. So hopefully everything will be all right. Morning, Ruth. And this is a free pattern on Yarn Inspirations. It's called Smart Baby Crochet Jacket. And like I say, you just make 2 of these funny octagons, and then you fold it and just stitch up the back and the shoulder seam. And then they've got they put a little button loop on it for a single button on the front of it. And I think it's going to be an absolutely precious little jacket. It'll go into my bin of stuff to have ready. Hi, Deb. For, if I have a baby announcement or whatever, I can just pull something from my box of goodies. I'm trying to add to that my gift box of handmade items, just so I have something on hand. All right, now I want to talk about our flower project. This is the shadow box I got at that yard sale for like $3. And I will tell you, it is the inside measurement is probably 8 by 10. Yeah, I'm going to go with 8 by 10. And so and the reason I picked this green cloth is, I don't know if you guys have been watching Marion at Marion's World. She hand sewed a wool jacket or coat. It's a long coat, and she completely hand sewed the coat by hand. And now she's doing embroidery on the coat. So I love how her embroidery and all looks on the green coat. So I had this piece of green fabric, and I'm thinking of using it as my background. So I'm going to just move the shadow box. This needs to be pressed before I actually do any work on it. And I will probably mark it with some of my tailor's chalk at the 8 by 10, so that I know exactly where I need to be. And I'll probably leave excess, because inside those shadow boxes, that black background actually comes out, and I could wrap this around the edges, because I think this fabric is thin enough that I could wrap it around the shadow box board and still be able to get it back into the frame. So I thought, let me grab a pin, and I'll just put a pin in, kind of denote where the sides are. I'll get my overloaded tomato pin cushion from where I found all those started projects with pins in them, and I was just kept putting them in this one. So I'm going to try to put this straight of grain. We'll see how well I do. And I'll put a pin kind of there. I'm just eyeballing it. And I'll put one up here. Scott was struggling this morning. And then I'm going to turn it and do 10 inches down here. Do this way. And that'll kind of give me an estimate as long as I stay within those pins. And I thought we'd pull my flowers out that I've gotten so far. So let's see. I got Janet Nash's yesterday. It was weird. The hi Melanie. We we get the what's it called? They email you what's coming in the mail, the notification of what's coming. Well, I checked it on Saturday, and it said we had 6 pieces of mail coming. We didn't see a mail person all day. Nothing. And then yesterday, the mail came around. It was so strange. I'm so not used to seeing the mailman. Look at Janet's envelope. That was so pretty to get in the mail. So, and she gave me a little cupcake, but inside here is her little blingy flower. And then I have, oh, and she sent a bit of printed fabric. This is my flower. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use this frame because this is going to be very full by the time I put 8 flowers on here. I might have to go bigger. And then I did set aside some greens to make some leaves. And I have, Joyce sent 2. So I've got a pink one. See, I don't know if I'm going to be able to use my shadow box, which is fine. But I do want to do a green background. So I'll have to look in my stash and see. And I have Anne's flower too. And here's Anne's flower. So yeah, I can tell this is not going to work. But now what I'm thinking is maybe I need to do a quilted wall hanging and create a center block, like get a larger piece of some kind of green. And then once I do all my stitching on the flowers or whatever, and I have my center block, I can do like a round robin and add borders to it. But I don't want it to be something that's going to get washed because this is going to be more of an art piece. So I need to think about that as I'm doing these as well. So I'm going to pull these pins out because this is just not going to work for that shadow box. The flowers would have to be minuscule, which ours are not minuscule. Another thing I could do is a pillow cover. I'm just throwing out ideas. If you guys have any ideas of how to use our flowers, let me know. But yeah, I'm going to need a bigger piece of green. It might need to be in this orientation instead. And yes, the flowers are all different colors, and I'm fine with that. And then this, maybe I could fold this and then iron it flat, and it could be a stem. So fold it over itself, and see, this could be a stem for one of the flowers. So that would go down, and you can arch it a little bit and give it some shape. And then the flower could stick on the stem like that. And then maybe draw a leaf on the back of this and then just fold this on that edge and create a leaf. And I would fold it to the back. I mean, you could have raw edges if you want raw edges. Basically, just make a leaf shape. Just ideas. But we can do a wall hanging, like the mini quilts. And that's what I think I might do now, but add a border to it. So it would end up looking like a mini quilt flower garden to put on the wall. And I'm probably going to add to everybody's flowers. You know, there'll be additional stitching to hold it down. Maybe I'll add a couple more beads here and there. You can do whatever you want with the flowers once you get them. So just think of some ideas. Either that, or maybe because of the 4th of July, they needed another day to recover from the 4th of July. So they waited. The young folks across the street, they had a good get together Their trash can is full. I love how when young people get together, they use all the paper products. So their trash can is packed. It's like, we ain't doing dishes. We're going to throw down. We're going to have fun, but we're not doing dishes. Crochet a vase, wrap some dolls with green, tack the flowers to the top, and make a bouquet. That's a good idea too. But I just was going to pull these out, and maybe we could sound off some ideas if you wanted to. Yeah, I have visions of making the background up with all different grasses and stuff, and then come in and add the flowers and leaves and stuff on top of my background of grasses and things. And my flowers could even overlap some. That's not going to be a problem either. They don't have to stand individually either. So I could put like Joyce's down here and then have Anne's overlap a little bit there. And then I'd leave this one on its own because he's textured. But I could even do that with mine and Janet's and just have them close together. Maybe overlap a little. Or like that. So that some flowers are in the background and some are in the foreground. It's all something to think about. And so I've received from Janet Nash, Anne, and Joyce, and I have my own, and I have my list here. And I know that Anne has received mine, and Kathy has received mine, and Beth. But I didn't know if Pam, the ginger cat lady, had received mine yet. Janet Nash hasn't said anything. And Joyce. And Goldie. Because I sent one to everybody. And I'd like to know when you receive it. That way I can keep track of what may have gotten lost in the mail, which is entirely possible. Unfortunate, but entirely possible. And that is what I have for this morning. I really didn't have much more to talk about. The little sweater, I want to bring that back over here real quick. The little sweater that I'm working on. I wanted to show you guys. I got these stitch markers, and they came in this little tin. I got them off Amazon. And they're all little cats, like there's cats on a piano keys. And there's a cat that's cloisonne, where they put the wire down and put the different colors in. Put my little kitty cats along here. I thought I'd shared these before, but I don't think I did. I think I shared them in our stitching group. And I'm not minding that they dangle. Barbara says she doesn't like when they dangle like that, but I don't mind. And I saw these on Amazon, and I thought, those are so stinking cute. All right, that's a duplicate to that one. So you do get some duplicates here. This little guy is so cute. There's another duplicate. Some little kitties. I hadn't checked to see how many duplicates I got. There's a little white one that's a duplicate of that one. Here's the kitty with that. So you do get two. Don't move Joyce's other flower over. This one goes there. So you get two of each. I think that one, this one are the same. And they have these, they look like earring drops. That's a little kitty with the flowers on his tummy. let's see. And I'm using, oops, I'm using this one right here right now on my sweater pattern. So let's see. Did I get 2 of each kind? So I know I got 2 of those. There's 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, there's his other one. So yeah, you get 2 of each kind. You get a dozen designs. And I thought they were darling. I'm going to take this out because I don't mind if they clang around in there. Aren't they cute markers? And this sweater is so interesting how it works up. At first I thought I was messing up because this isn't a flat hexagon, but it actually works out perfect because it just kind of naturally folds, and you make 2 of these and hook them side by side down the back, and it makes a little pullover sweater. Or it's not really a sweater. They call it a jacket. But I thought it's really cute. And my mother-in-law was like, "You're making that for yourself, aren't you?" And I was like, "No, it's going to be very small. It's going to go in my gift box that I'm making handmade items to just have on hand." I like to have things on hand because I don't have to stress over. Joyce received yours. Okay. I'm getting distracted. Sorry. Let me write over here. Received Anne's. And Anne has received mine. So mine's been received by Anne. All right. Trying to keep track. That's good. Hi, Heather. So this is our flowers so far. And the garden will keep growing. Joyce sent me 2. So I've received half of the 8 so far, right? If you count myself, because we had 8 people in the swap. So now I'm thinking, how am I going to do my garden this time? But I will work it out. It's going to be fine. So if I did the garden 10 inches this way, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. So next Monday, maybe I'll get a couple more flowers in, and maybe the ideas will flow. I have to periodically pull them out and see how much space they're taking up so that my brain can work on visualizing how I want to place my background work, all of the leaves and things, and what do I want in the background. Marion added to her coat this last week. I think her video came out yesterday. I was watching it yesterday. I don't know if it came out then, but she did this beautiful fern on her coat. If you guys haven't seen Marion's coat and you like stitchery, you have got to go check her. I will put a link to the video that I watched yesterday in the description box, because you guys have to see that fern that she made. And she took her, I guess some people call them orts, all the little pieces cut off the end. She puts them in a jar. Like when she finishes stitching, she snips it. Well, she had her jar full, so she pulled out all of the things that looked earthy, like you would see at the base of a fern. And she just took that glob of thread ball and stuck it down on her coat, and she stitched it down to look like the base of that fern. I was just enthralled. I sat here and just couldn't stop watching. Scott had to wait on his breakfast so that I could watch Marion. So anyway, you like the idea of a wall hanging? I think that's what I'm leaning toward. And maybe start with a center that's maybe 12 by 24 would possibly give us enough space to let each flower shine within the strip. I'm going to see what I have in my stash of a solid green. I don't want to use a print because our flowers, I want the flowers prints to be the focal of it. I don't want the background to detract from it. That's why I was leaning toward this here, and I have fusible batting, or I might just use a fusible interfacing on my background piece just to make it a little bit more substantial to hold all the embroidery. Don't put that in stone, though. I might change my mind if the fabric I find is a little bit heavier. I actually have, hang on. Actually, when we went on our anniversary trip and we stopped at that little thrift store that wouldn't let us use their bathroom, even though they were like the only place out there. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I got this piece of green wool, and it's a wool, and it's plenty big that I could cut some off from it to use as my background. Let me see, how much do I have? It looks like it's about a yard by 60 inches wide. So let's put these away and set this out of the way. And I'm going to get this piece of other green up here. I'm going to put this yarn over here out of the way. And we'll pick these up real quick. Sorry if that's loud. I did cloisonne in high school. That's a long time ago. All right. So this could be my background. And this would be a delight to stitch through without anything added to the back. And, oh, look how they pop on this. Oh, that's some of my green coming down. So yeah, we could do this in the center. That's just a piece of fabric. I just have them. You can put them. You don't want to put them like in a straight line, because nothing in nature's in a true straight line. Nature doesn't like straight lines. I don't care what people say. Everything man-made, they want straight lines. In nature, there are no straight lines. There's always a slight curve. There's always something like that. The color is not showing up correctly on the camera. I don't know if closing my curtain would make it show the true color. Nope. This is more of a Kelly grass green, the background is. So this would be my background, and then I could put a border on the outside. And I could show you guys how to do a border that looks really interesting, and it's not as hard as it looks, because it's just half square. You do half square triangle blocks. Let me see if I can find a picture. Let's see. Oh, I wish there was a way to do that. There we go. Search quilt. Of course, I didn't label everything. No, I don't have it. That was the quilt I made for my little nephew, Caden, or Kane. I made that for Kane. I think his brother's name is Caden. And his mom and dad are Kayla and Kenny. They're the K family in the family. So I don't have a picture of the one I want to show you. But this is a project I have in the back. This was what's her name? Oh my gosh. This was her Sweet Cakes quilt along, and I didn't use the fabrics that she did. I used my collection of batiks. Pat Sloan, that's who I'm thinking. This was a Pat Sloan quilt along that I need to get finished, and I did it in loud batiks instead of the cutesy florally stuff that she did. There's Janet Nash. Yes, I'm working on a garden on here. Let me see. Where can I look to see if I can find that picture? Let's look in the group. Our Quilters Family Home. I need to drop over there because that was our private quilters group. And it's been quite a while since any of us have posted on there. I need to post on there. This was a round robin. Marsha posted about it, but this is a round robin that we worked on, and the colorful border that you see there, that's the one that I added to it. I love to do round robins, but when I get my round robin back, I just keep the top. None of my round robins have been quilted, and the other gals, they got theirs quilted. I am looking for, oh, you know what? We used to have a photo section in here. Let me see if I can get into the photo section. Photos. There we go. This was a round robin that I had just done my section on, and I did the colorful batik border. And this went to Barb Fillion up in Canada, and she had this beautiful elephant in the middle, and then everybody else had already added all these other borders. I think I was the last one to add a border before it got sent back to her. So you don't know when you're sending the round robins around, you don't know what somebody else is going to add to your quilt, but it's always a delightful surprise when we get them back. This one here, if I remember right, I just added the blue bricks around the outside edge. So you can, like I said, you don't know because the center is what she sent out, and then somebody else added a border, and then somebody else added a border, and then somebody else added a border, and then I added a border. And we haven't done these in so long. I'm looking for a specific one. You can see where I was planning the border to make sure I got all the way around. And that one was fun to work on there. Let's see. I think her granddaughter did that quilt. Beautiful job. She did a great job. And then we did a Christmas round robin. And I added this really loud border around the cardinal. And these were our house blocks that we did. I think I still have mine somewhere. I need to put them into a quilt. We had fun doing house blocks. All right. This quilt here, I had added one of these multicolored borders here, if I remember right, because that's not my flooring. So that was when it got back home. But these are all half square triangles. So like some of the blocks are made with like 2 different colored triangles put together into a square. I'm going to keep scrolling. I know this is boring for you guys. Okay, here you go. This looks really complicated, but I can walk you guys through this if you guys want to learn to do this border. This border is nothing but 2 triangles sewn together into squares, and then you just flip them in different directions to get this like ribbon around border. And we could do something like that and it would look like a garden fence. And we might want to like do that as a private session if you guys wanted to. And I do remember I messed up one of the corners and Scott pointed it out, so I had to take the corner apart, but it was okay. We worked it out. But yeah, these quilts are ones that we did together. Some were some of the gals. This was one, I think Diane had entered that in a quilt show. Isn't that beautiful? I think she got a prize too. She's had her quilts shipped all over the world, I think. So anyway, that's what I was thinking. We could do the center piece together, and then I could show you guys how to do that fancy border. You haven't received your flower yet. Okay. So I kind of figured you would be the last one, but I thought most everybody else should have received mine by now because I mailed them out the end of June. I know Kathy, Ann, and Beth have all said they've received them. Don't count myself, so I still need to know if Pam, the ginger cat lady, has received it. And now I know you haven't, and I need to know if Joyce and Steph have received them. Joyce should have received it from me because it only had to go one or 2 states over. But you never know. I mean, Joyce's poor envelope got kind of bent about. All right, I think I've probably ran on enough. So I got to figure out, once all the flowers get here, I'll decide on how big of a piece I want to do. I'm just thinking. You didn't get any posts yet. All right. Yeah, because I think it was, if I remember right, the 26th or 20. It was either the 26th or the 29th that I mailed everybody's out. And yeah, so let me let you guys go. I'm going to go get the link to Marion's video on embroidering on her coat that she just put out this last week, because you guys have got to see what she does with just the snippets from like when she ends sewing and she puts them in her jar of threads. You've got to see how she turned those into the base of her fern. I mean, you've got to see it. And then she created the fern with a twisted chain stitch. Did I tell you guys I got stung by a wasp? I was trying to trim the bushes by the driveway so that the cats can get up under the bushes during the hottest part of the day and just be in the cool under the bushes. And this red-faced wasp got me right in the ankle. and my whole ankle itches. And I've been taking Benadryl and putting some Benadryl cream on it and iced it, and oh my God, it itches so bad still. That happened Friday, I think it was. When a wasp like that gets you, and then I looked up and here comes the rest of the nest. And we looked around, we didn't have any spray, so we had to go buy spray. But that pain when they pop you, oh my gosh. I thought I was going to pass out in the yard. Aren't they? They are the devils. They are the most evil creatures. And I keep telling myself, everything serves a purpose. And I told Scott, I said, the purpose for those wasps is to die. They're going to bite me. I'm going to bite back. So, all right, guys. I will talk to you later. Let me go see if I can find Marion's link, and I'll put it down below. And keep in mind, she also hand sewed this coat by hand, not machine, by hand. So I look forward to seeing how y'all enjoy Marion's world. She also has Marion's garden, and she's been updating her gardens on her gardening channel. So I'll put those 2 links below. All right. Take care, everybody. See some of you at Janet's in a couple hours. Bye.